Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. It is slightly foggy, but light outside, so who knows if it's going to rain. It was sprinkly rainy last night when I went out walkies, but it's not this morning. So who knows what's going to happen with the weather. I took more Benadryl last night so that I could actually sleep. And while I don't sleep much, at least while I woke up around 6-ish, and I got to bed around 1:30, yay. At least I slept through until then. So hopefully you've been able to sleep. Hopefully you're feeling good today. Thumbs up on that. Front loading of videos. Hey, if you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that would be double plus good. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These are literally beautiful and literally awesome people who are in fact literally beautiful and literally awesome, helping to keep me and my aging pet alive. Both I and my aging pet appreciate that to no end. If you would like to help keep me and my aging pet metabolizing, there are links to the Patreon in the video description, as well as a PayPal link for possible donations, an Amazon wishlist link with stuff like pet food on it, and a post office box where if you send me anything at all, I'll show it off on camera here, and that'll be awesome. Front loading the video is over. Thank you very much. Yay! Oh, there are some things I want to talk about, some things I don't. I had falling asleep issues again yesterday for a short while, so yay. And of course, really quick, when I first started recording D100 Dungeon here for the channel, I first felt intimidated because the times that I had played before recording, it was because it is more granular, more crunchy, there's more to pay attention to. When you're doing 4 Against Darkness, it's a really quick loop that there's not even a list of what you do. And on Note Quest, it's a small list of what you do, but there's a stronger list of all the crunchiness on D100 Dungeon. But the more you play it, the faster it goes. In fact, I'm amazed at how quickly it runs now, so thumbs up on that. Yay! Now checking on my list because, oh boy, like I say, there's not a whole lot I want to talk about, just a little bit some. Floramu had mentioned in comments that they had broken their arm in the past, that I think it was twice. For some reason that started me thinking about this and how much I have hurt myself and haven't hurt myself. I have had one surgery in my life, and that was just to have my tonsils out when I was very young. It is one thing I can remember from my youth. Very little can I remember. But one thing was, after I had woke up in the hospital, I remember vomiting a big one of those kidney basins full of blood, and then calling up my mother to ask her to come take me home because I hurt so much. So, yay, I remember that. But that's the only surgery I've ever had. I haven't had tonsils my whole life, and that's not something I really miss. I don't mind tonsil stones. Yeah, those are pretty icky. So, thumbs up. Has it hurt me not having tonsils? Again, I have no ideas. I mean, people without them seem to survive. I have. Thumbs up on that. I have, luckily, I only have 2 fractures in my body that I know of, and those are actually self-diagnosed. And the only reason they're self-diagnosed is they're also 2 injuries you can't really do anything about. I fell when I was in the Air Force, and I was really drunk one time. I was carrying some bottles to take out. Or it might even been after the Air Force. I was drinking heavily during in and out, but I had fallen and landed on top of a bottle with my full weight on one rib on the circular part of the base of the bottle, and I came down full force on that. That hurt almost a year. Now, if you just bruise a bone, it hurts for a while, maybe a month or so, and then it starts feeling better. A bruised bone doesn't take a year to stop hurting, and that hurt for a full year. But you break a rib, what do? Unless it's like badly broken and like puncturing you. If it's just a fracture, they just say don't get into any accidents, and maybe they tape you up, but that's it. So yay. The other one also happened when I was younger. When I was first in the Air Force, when I was 19 years old, the first base I was at, Hurlburt Field, Florida, on the Eglin Air Force Base campus, they had wall lockers that you would put your stuff into. And the wall lockers, of course, they were like you find in, the old type school things, because they'd be full size, not just these half size locker things. You'd open them up and there'd be like this much space between the floor and the door. I was really drunk one night and I fell backwards and the door was open and my foot went wham underneath it and slammed into that thing. It was well over a year before that stopped really hurting, because you have to walk on them. And again, self-diagnosed because of that, because it hurt well over a year, and then it was years afterward before it just stopped aching and hurting on a minor level. So I whammed up the bone of my toe there pretty badly. So yeah, self-diagnosed fractures. Were they really? Who knows? But after this much time, how could you even check? I mean, sure, you check for calcification, but you're going to find calcification just because there was injuries there. So thumbs up. But still, let me check on my list here. Oh yes, this actually back here, that's I was thinking yesterday on goofy stuff, and I came up with this thing while I was out walking, because of course German and Italian sausage, that's not made out of like anything but long pig, because it is, after all, Uncle Bonbons. And so I had been thinking of that, where there's a human and cryptid couple, and the one cryptid who's the dominant in the partnership is cooking up some breakfast sausage, and they say, oh, you want Italian or German sausage? I stopped off at Uncle Bonbon's this morning and I grabbed some sausages. And so they go, oh, well, we've been eating a lot of Germans lately, how about some Italian sausage instead? And so, yeah, it's made out of real German people. And of course, Italian sausage, that's when you get the one character who's just about to take a big old bite and just goes, "It's-a me!" Nom, 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 nom. So, thumbs up on that. There's more, of course, on that one. I was also thinking on the subject, because I bounce around on a million different things these days anymore, again, like I'm not even medicated, which I am for my ADHD. I'm bouncing around feeling like I'm unmedicated when I am. When I'm not medicated, I am useless. So, at least there's not that. But one of the things that I'd mentioned before, that Uncle Bonbons is like the Ben and Jerry's of the whole human beings as food and snack items market, because where there is capital to be made, human beings are gonna do it. And especially here with the cryptid world, where it's basically untraceable as a crime if you're a human being and you know about this place, because the cryptid world is basically undetectable from our normal world. Unless your third eye is open, you can't see this whole other world around with you, nor can you interact with it. So when these corporations start getting what I call volunteers, and involunteers to be broken down into snack foods and just regular foods for cryptids and those with the sight to devour. And while it does bring down local human random consumptions, it does increase the number of general human consumption all around the world. It does settle down. to eventually just a fraction of 1% of the world's population every year become volunteers, actual volunteers where places like Uncle Bonbon's, they don't ask too many questions about where the volunteers are from. And then there's the involunteers, where you go to various dictatorial and authoritarian governments and you get volunteers of dissidents every single month. Involunteers. Uncle Bonbons tries not to use involunteers, only volunteers and volunteers. It's the just worldwide corporations headed by actual human beings that use mostly involunteers for food processing. So thumbs up on that. And that's why you can go and grab, some fresh Italian or German sausage at your local Bonbons, Uncle Bonbons. And I figure this person would also be grabbing a couple steaks. And just like, the deli shavings, it's from some poor sap who used to be alive and isn't anymore. Also, just on that one, the love language again of the cryptids it's grim, but it's not at the same time. Like if you have a human cryptid relationship, which while there aren't a lot, there are some. Because it's less than 2% of the world's population have their third eye open. Their cryptid genes express. They don't become a cryptid, but their third eye opens. Less than 2% of the world's population does that. Now, there's no numerical values to the sight and vision, but to gamify it and put it into terms that human beings can understand, in a labeling type situation, between 50 and 60 of your cryptid vision, it's about 60% of the people that develop the sight stop in that zone. They are aware of the cryptid world, they can see it, people start perceiving them as a little standoffish and weird, but not anything major, and you can choose to ignore the cryptid world if you wish. Between 60 and 70 is when people start finding you really kind of off. Maybe they don't talk to you a lot. They don't find you unpleasant or weird. You're just off. And so they tend to avoid you. And just as like in the last level, 60% stay there, 40% develop more. At between the 60 and 70 range, 60% of those stay in that range, and only 40% moves up to the 70 to 80 range. By this point, human beings are finding it very, very difficult to deal with you. You're hard to keep their eyes on, and they forget that you're in the room if you're not there. That's where 60% of that, and then another 40% that passes on to the, are we up to the 80 to 90 range? By this point, human beings just can't interact with you anymore. You are far too much extra universal sensory organs and other structures that reality and the human brain, to sort of save everything, you don't even really acknowledge that they're there. Your eyes just slide off of them, and then you don't even acknowledge their presence. And then, of course, of those 40%, once you're up into the 90s, it starts dropping off. 91, only 40%. Go to 92, only 40%. To 93. By the time you have a really strong cryptid vision, there's no one that can really interact with you except for those with other strong cryptid visions. And of course, cryptids, because we are social animals. We can't take being alone, or we become psychologically damaged. You have to socialize with somebody and something, so it's going to end up being these cryptids who will gladly and eagerly accept you as a friend. Your third eye is opened. They don't realize it. You don't realize it. You should have expressed your genes as a cryptid. There is a sequence of events with an extra universal gene as part of it, where if that gene does not express, your body does not convert into cryptid matter, cryptid energy. Those human beings who have the vision are cryptids with that genetic flaw. So you stay a human being, except you and don't express, but you still have all those extra universal organs and structures and such. You just can't really do anything with them because your body's still human, but everything else about you isn't. And cryptids, when they look at other cryptids, they can see metaphorically, not visually, but they can look at a cryptid and they can see that they're a cryptid, and they can see their cryptid vision, their cryptid presence. You have a presence, you shine. Human beings that have that vision and didn't express as a cryptid are very confusing to the cryptid vision. It's like with one eye you're seeing everything in normal, and on the other eye is also normal, except you are flipped into the negative. So everything's the same, but you sort of flicker between negative and color because you've got the two eyes that can't make the image go together. And that's what they see when they look at a human being with the vision. They see human being and cryptid. And because of this, they tend to look at those with the stronger vision, that you can sort of metaphorically tilt your head and squint an eye, and that hides the human part behind the cryptid part. So they can interact with you and then generally forget that you are just a human being with the vision and you're not a cryptid. So thumbs up on that. Taking a look at well under here. Oh yes, so the corporations eventually end up several million people every single year, volunteers and involunteers, broken down for food and snack products for cryptids. Which the thing is, several million people a year? 1% of the 8 billion we've just recently topped is 80 million. So if only 8 million people every year become cryptid chow through the corporations, that's only a fraction of 1%. Globally, as a species, we're not even going to notice that. And since it's taken from places that aren't really going to worry about massive amounts of people vanishing, in fact, that can be looked at as a positive, and just random here, no grouping around the globe for involunteers being taken, nobody really knows that this is happening. So thumbs up on that. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left in comments in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count American Sign Language, we've already seen how my brain works. So click as I click on my dentures. Jesse Koskinen, good to see you, and thank you very much. It is a very cool dice tower. I like it quite a bit. RJ Mitchell, thumbs up, thank you very much, and happy birthday. And then there is Kiko Splendido, thumbs up, thank you. And Sylvia Wilkinson, who I had actually missed in the comments, but thank you very, very much. And I've been thinking of that. I kind of like the clatter and rattle of the dice, so I don't know if I actually want to do that and make it quieter. We shall see. There is Sacred Geometry, greatly appreciated. Thank you. Sacred Geometry, that's the way it's pronounced. Flora Mew, thumbs up, thank you much. And oh boy, that orc. Kristen Johns, thumbs up, who it is unpleasant, but was not abusive. So no problems. JAYY, thumbs up, thank you. And oh, I plan on seeing that new Puss in Boots movie. I really, really want to. There is TRIOSCI. ANKLIQUIT, thumbs up, thank you very much, and I will do my best to try and react to those things. And then we have Coco's, thumbs up and thank you. Chris, greatly appreciated. There is GUCCINIG, who makes a not very pleasant, but again, not abusive comment about an ancient video. And that is it. 12 people? 12? Yeah, 12 people left me comments in the past 24 hours. Greatly appreciated. You get me out of my head, into the world, and dealing with real people, if only for a short time and if only in text, but it is appreciated. So, son of a gun, I've got some phone calls I still want to make, so hopefully I'll be able to get through my executive dysfunction and do that. That would be a good thing. Hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done, but of course don't beat yourself up if you can't. And no matter where you are, if people are getting sick where you are, take precautions. If people are getting hurt where you are, take appropriate precautions. If you're out walking and you hear the mournful howl of that bus horn, the bus with your name on it, well, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. So, but until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing.